You ready?
Yeah. It's so pretty at the end. Wow.
Shout out.
Shout out Eddie Spencer, man. Fuck. He made that. I love that. He made it so fast too.
He owes us an edit, but he made it.
It sounds, I really love the ding, 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 ding at the end. Sick. That's sick. PodCass episode 2. Big deal, baby.
6 listeners.
Woo woo. Aaron uploaded the first episode after, I think, it's you work hard on something, you edit something, and then we woke up the next morning and he's like, no views. We didn't promote it at all. We did nothing. We just wanted to have it done.
I wanted instant reviews.
I know. You wanted to wake up and be like, we're viral.
Yeah.
Didn't
tell a soul.
Yeah. Didn't tell a single soul, didn't promote it anywhere. Just uploaded it to channels. No one knows who I am. That's awesome. It was a lot of work. Good. It is. It's a lot of work. It's scary. We're talking about, oh my gosh, about like just doing things that you want to do and just, I don't know, like you got to walk the walk, If I'm going to give advice, you got to walk the walk. And one of those things is just saying yes and trusting the process and doing stuff instead of not doing stuff. It's always better to do things, even if you're bad at them, I guess. I don't guess, I know.
Just say yes?
Yeah, just say yes. Or just say yes to you. Just say yes to other things, other opportunities, and just, I don't know. There's something to it. There's something about just kind of trying something and just being like, I'm just going to do this a bunch of times over and over. It's the only way to get really good at it. But it's so scary. It would be so much easier if we could just start something and be perfect at it. But that's unrealistic. And I feel like we all take that into so many areas of our lives. Like when we start new jobs or we get into new like relationships or friendships, we just expect to be kind of like the perfect friend, the perfect partner, the perfect, I don't know, parent, I'm sure, the perfect employee or visionary or creative or comedian or whatever it is. And we just want to be good at it right away. And there's just no way to do that. It's a lot of little actions and it's being bad at it first or being worse at it than you eventually become. That's the whole thing, right? Just keep doing it and say yes to lots of different things to get yourself there.
What about no?
Ooh. Ooh, the other word that you can answer. This is good. This is juicy, guys. Buckle up. We're going to talk about the word no. Oh. I do think of course I have an opinion on this. I have an opinion on everything. I'm like, oh, I'm making fun of it. And then, I'll answer. I think the word no is obviously a good tool that we have. And a lot of us are teaching ourselves about, I don't know, boundaries and how to not do certain things. But I've seen people live their lives where every answer is no all the time. And I honestly think it makes you really miserable. And obviously there's different things to say no to, right? Like if somebody comes up to you on the street and is like, can I have $5,000? Like that's probably a good time to say, no, you can't. Unless you, I don't know, really want to give that person $5,000. But, most of the time there are definitely lots of instances in life where we should say no. I think that's common sense. But I feel like if it's opportunity related, don't say no because you feel like it's beneath you or you're scared of it. I guess it's those two things. If something's scary, it's actually probably something that you should try. Unless it's like hand gliding with no experience or no professional close by. Maybe not that one.
Like in Rio.
Yeah, like in Rio. Me and Aaron have been watching a lot of cartoons recently, so all of we're becoming Disney adults. Just so scary.
The birds who can't fly go hang gliding.
Yeah, in Rio, the birds who can't fly go hang gliding. For everybody who's interested in a quick synopsis of the classic Disney Pixar film Rio. But yeah, I feel like, if it's scary And because it makes you feel like you're taking a risk, a calculated risk, but you're taking a risk, then it's probably a really good thing to do. That's the biggest one, is if it feels kind of scary.
How do you know scary good from scary bad?
I think you can feel it. I think we've spent a lot of time going away from how we feel about things and intuition and just what we should feel about certain things, like how we should feel about going to work or spending time up. I think you can feel amazing about going to work every day, or like shit about going to work every day. You can feel all types of ways about all types of things. But to feel scared in your gut, I think there's a different response when it's something you probably shouldn't be doing. It almost feels like, I don't know, like that's where you're almost tempted to say yes, but you should say no. But ones where you feel like you should say yes, but then you go against yourself and you say no, those scary times I think are the ones to watch out for. Because if you're, wanting to, I don't know, like if you really don't want to do something and you feel that in your core, and then you say yes to something because you're scared of, another person's reaction, or you're scared of being called a name or seen as a type of way you don't identify with, then I think it's very easy to scare yourself into kind of saying yes to something you don't want. But I think if you are thinking about what you want to do and the scary option, like in a positive way, feels like saying yes, but it feels like the right thing to do, and you feel like you're kind of going against yourself when you say no, that's the thing to pay attention to. That's the thing to kind of hold out for. And also, it's fucking common sense. Like, I think, if someone offers you an opportunity in your field, don't do the runaround of random dramatic reasons on why you shouldn't take it. Like, you know that you should be saying yes to things if you want to get somewhere. And the only reason people know that and don't do it is because they're scared, and fear of being bad at something or being embarrassed seems to trump our desire to actually have a really good, successful, and fruitful life. And it's just because we know that beast. We know what it's like when we stay safe. Nothing happens. And there's comfort in that. There's comfort in doing things and having nothing happen. Like, I think it's I get that. I do. But then the days start going by really fast and the years start going by really fast. And then all of a sudden you're just kind of living the life you don't want. And I know we talked about that on our last episode in terms of just like making changes. But that also just goes for saying yes and making the most of it. Don't say yes begrudgingly. Like, pour yourself into something if you really, really want to be great at it. And if you don't care about being great at anything, then fuck it. You don't need advice. Just hang out, chill out, do whatever you want. Like, if you just want to hang around, that's fine. But I feel like a lot of people, even when they think they want that, they think they don't want to have a job ever, and they just want to stay home, and they just want to do nothing. And I get that, because sometimes I just wish someone would hospitalize me. Like, I wish I would break both of my legs so that people would have to visit me in the hospital. How lovely would that be? Just to be bedridden, sick and ill, and have people just coming to me, oh my God, giving me morphine. I'm on so many drugs. I'm getting fed all of my meals. People are bringing me special things, candy, because they feel bad for me,
I already do that for you.
I know you do. You do.
Bedridden Victorian lady.
Yeah, you do that for me, which is very true. Is very true. But sometimes when life is really busy and there's a lot of pressure and you're doing a lot of things and you're responsible for a lot of stuff and you're scared about how people are going to perceive you, it would just be so nice to be in the hospital.
You just want to go full Victorian.
I just want a
sickly,
damp cloth on my head.
Pale,
just sickly, nighty down to my toes.
Asking the maid what the weather's like.
Exactly. I want frills around my neckline. I can't even
bring myself to look outside.
Exactly. I want an old, weird doctor to come visit with a stethoscope and be like, yep, she needs opium. That's what I want.
Opium. That's my one diagnosis.
That's my one diagnosis, is she needs opium and to masturbate.
You.
That was all the things, was opium and masturbation.
She's hysterical. Give her some opium.
Honestly, it sounds awesome to be ill in the Victorian era. It sounds like you just got to freaking jerk off and get high.
She's unruly.
It's awesome. It sounded sick.
If you had healthcare.
Yeah, true. Whoa, get real.
Yeah.
let's get fucking real for a second. Yeah, I don't know. But I get it. I sometimes want to be hospitalized for like a week, just to take a break. So I understand.
You don't burn vacation days.
No.
If you're in the hospital.
No, you can't. Everyone's like, oh my God, you don't even have to use your sick days. I mean, she's in the hospital.
This must be serious. You're in the hospital.
Yeah, she gets this time off, right? I get it. But I think if your whole life was obviously that and bedridden and maybe not bedridden, but, you know, just kind of hanging out and doing whatever, there's probably some people who would love that and be very happy with that. I do think after a while you would struggle to find purpose. And purpose doesn't have to be like a career, boss babes. You know, a purpose can be anything. It can be something that just brings you a lot of joy for, you know, a lot of reason for living. I think that purpose doesn't have to be attached to anything. It could be a seemingly really silly thing. Like your purpose could be just collecting the best rocks you've ever fucking found in your life.
Like Wall-E, his directive.
Exactly. Wall-E's another Disney movie. Just plug that.
His directive is to collect trash.
Yeah, his directive, Wall-E, if you haven't seen it, classic film. Fantastic.
Classic piece of cinema.
Yeah. Aaron really identifies with Wall-E, as he should. He loves trash. And that's not me making fun of him. He will say it himself. Yeah, he loves trash. He does.
Confirmed.
Trash lover. But yeah, Wall-E's directive was trash. And then it changed to his love robot, Eve.
He stopped working immediately.
He was like, I have something
he saw
else.
A woman.
Yeah, he was like, I've been on Earth for 700 years. This is my reason for living now.
We thought about that. Wall-E's been alive 700 years.
A great point. Wall-E wasn't afraid of change.
And he stuck with it for 700 years. He
followed her into space. Yeah. You know, he did the same thing until something came along and changed his mind. And I think that's a great lesson for everyone all the time. You know, there's certain things that will probably give us purpose in our lives and that might change. I think we all, or anyway, anyone in the younger generations, like we tend to think that life is over at the next decade. But the truth is, you know, if you're 25 years old, you could be, that's the difference between being like 75 and 100. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting.
Like that's 25 years. So there's so much for many of us, you know, who are lucky enough to make it that far. There's a lot of years left and there's a lot of time to either find purpose if you haven't found it, create new purpose or different purpose, either because you have to, because something in life changed or an unfortunate circumstance came up, or, you know, having a really consistent purpose throughout and finding that early. That's lucky too. But I think there's just so much to find, you know, and purpose can look so different for every person. But I think, you know, when you're walking towards it and when things are starting to happen for you that feel like they fit into the realm of that, but we can easily get so caught up in our own egos or embarrassments or fears of failure and just say no to things that could lead other places because they don't directly look like the goal. You know, if the goal is to start at zero and then win an Academy Award, you're not going to only take the big Hollywood movie. Like there's going to be lots of things you do before that to get there, right? If your goal is to be a zoologist, you're not just going to like, I don't know, touch a sedated tiger and be like, I'm done. Like you're going to have to do a lot more than that. I don't know why that was my example. Touching passed out tigers to become a zoologist.
Finally, I made it. It's so soft. All the schooling was worth it.
I'll take my degree now. But you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of little tiny steps that you can't really see that lead to things that you want. So if you have something that you have found, if you're lucky enough to be like, I think this is my purpose, I'm going to go after it, then go after it. And also if you keep saying no to a lot of things that you think lead to your purpose, maybe it's not your purpose. Maybe you don't want to freaking do it. Maybe you're just like, I don't know, you just don't want to, and you've told yourself you do, or someone else has told you want something and you just don't, and all the steps that you're supposed to be taking aren't working. And that takes a lot of bravery too, to turn around and after realizing that something you worked really hard for, or something that you put a lot of effort into or thought into or dedicated a lot of your life to, really wasn't your purpose, and you realize how much you were going against that. That's a part of life too, I think, is like all the redirections. And it happens at different times for different people. But pretending that, I don't know, it's over at like 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Like it's not. At 40, you could still have more than your entire life to live again. That's crazy. You know, there's so much more. And hopefully we have the ability to make it like, we don't really know what our generation's kind of plagues will be as we start to age and what will start to kind of take us, which is kind of like a weird thing we don't get to know. But hopefully we can, find more ways to be healthy and keep our dreams alive and keep our brains sharp. Like at least we are the generation that, and multiple generations, not just one, but at least we are generations that are now more focused, I think, on finding healthier ways to live. Whereas previously it was just like smoke a bunch of cigarettes and whiskey and let's fucking party, and that was it. And thinking about health was like lame or like gay or something. I don't know. Like people just didn't think taking care of themselves was interesting or cool. So hopefully, side note, but hopefully, we as a group figure out how to take care of ourselves a little sooner. I mean, it always takes a while, but before we get to the age of 70, we start taking care of ourselves and we get to live long, healthy lives where we can do lots of different things. Or our phones are going to kill us all at 40 and then fuck, like what was it all for? Like, do you really want to look back and be like, that's all I did all day? I don't know. I just feel like there's so much opportunity to live life and we really don't know what's coming. We don't know what our life expectancies will be. We don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of scary things going on in the world. War and horror and genocide, and like we're living through, I guess lots of people have lived through difficult times, but we are living through a uniquely difficult time, and that everyone is kind of so aware, but also so overwhelmed and so unable to do certain things. But then there's also great community and coming together and other things. I don't know. I've seen a lot of the beautiful parts of life too, but that's kind of that's kind of part of it. It's knowing that, yeah, maybe there's no point and maybe there's, something worse going on that you could be thinking about, or maybe there's something you could be doing for you. I don't know. It's easy to kind of get lost in a wash of so many different feelings and then apathy, which is really scary. But I think if you have even an inkling of wanting to do or try something, make the time that you have here meaningful. That will make an impact. Like you trying to do something either positive for yourself or for other people, or just trying to live closer to your purpose. It will make you a nicer person. It will make you, I think, kinder and more compassionate to others, more understanding. Like people who find their purposes, I think, have a sense of kind of calm and assurance about them. And maybe not everybody, like people make lots of mistakes, and maybe some people that are even very famous for the thing they're doing are not following their purpose and they really should have done something else, and I think that's something to note. I just feel like if everybody got a little bit closer to what you feel like it is, it just like really kind of lights you up and lights your soul on fire and stuff. Like it just makes life a lot better, and it helps. It gives you the tools to help when things go wrong, because you still feel like you're on the right path, and things will go wrong. Like the goal is never ultimate happiness, because things will always go wrong and be fucked up and sad, and there will always be tragedy, and for some people a lot more than others. But I think we've all seen people who've suffered great loss and endured great pain, and they come out with joy and wisdom in ways that we never thought possible. And I think it's because they don't want to feel like that. And a lot of people are trying to run away from a bad feeling, or run towards a bad feeling if they're scared of the good feeling. But ultimately, like the good feeling, as uncomfortable and scary and embarrassing as it sometimes can be, to really follow what you want in spite of what anyone else wants and says, which is another big part, right? There's always other people who have opinions on what you're doing. That kind of push, in my opinion, is really like the way to live life. It's the way to crack it. Because, yeah.
When you say yes to something that is seemingly aligned with you, then it'll probably lead to other other decisions that are no-brainers.
Yeah.
That you're like, of course, this is.
Yeah.
Just say yes to, and then.
If you start saying yes to things, it's actually kind of a pretty easy brain change to make. Like you just start creating a different pattern. And the tricky thing is it's very easy to fall off that pattern when you feel comfortable. Like it's a conscious choice to say yes. Always. Because I don't know, even when you get comfortable saying yes to things, that's when sometimes we start feeling maybe a little too comfortable, and then we feel like we've gotten to a good place, and then we start kind of saying no again. It can be exhausting. I mean, we still have to take time for ourselves and figure out how to say no to certain things that really just are needed to like protect ourselves, our energy, or whatever. Like that, there is value in saying no. I think it's just more like, if you really want something, and if you really want to be like great at something too, those people do tend to be the ones, I think, who say yes to the opportunities that orbit them in that space, and say yes a lot. And their yes percentage to no is just a lot higher. So maybe it's that they do say no. It's just the percentage of yeses are higher. And those are people, I think, who they meet more people and they make more connections. And I know I felt this way. There's certain things that will happen, when I'm doing comedy or I'm talking to somebody, where I'm like, oh, this feels like connected to something. And it somehow is, like, it's connected to a really good conversation I have with that person later, or just something I feel really good about, where I'm like, wow, I'm really working with the right people. Like I have, it's really cool that these are my colleagues, or, or opportunities kind of like snowball and lead to other things. And you're kind of like, oh, I wonder if that was connected to that or this. Like things just start kind of connecting, like the dots start filling in a lot. And maybe you see things with rose-colored glasses sometimes. And I mean, whatever, but like, fuck, that sounds like a nice way to live, It's nice to look at something and just be like, yes, 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 and be genuinely excited to do it. I was talking with another comedian once. We were at the back of a club, and it was a comedy show for like 5 people, and everybody was complaining. Everyone was like, I don't want to do that. Everyone just did not want to do the show. For anyone that doesn't know, comedians hate going up in front of 5 people, classically, famously.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, except for Aaron, he's fearless.
No, I just only can ever do crowds of 5 people.
It's a specialty sweet spot. 6 is too many.
6 is freaks me out.
Freaks him out. I feel like that's actually more, I know you're joking, but it feels like more of a skill to be able to be really good at comedy for 5 people.
It's like when family friends come over.
Yeah.
Just like entertain.
Yeah, exactly. Be a really good host and bounce around conversations and kind of steer that ship, But anyway, it was a show for like 5 people. All the comedians wanted it canceled. They didn't want to do it. And then this one comedian friend of mine, and he's very, very funny, he was like, I just feel so lucky that I get to do this, honestly. I'm not mad. Like, we're getting paid to do this. Like, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, that is crazy. And I don't know. He's had a decent amount of success in his career. And I just feel like that outlook of just being really grateful and thankful to do what you're doing, because it feels like the thing you're supposed to be doing. Like, you can feel that in people. And it's almost kind of annoying to people who really want to hate everything. People who want to hate everything hate that. They hate this. They hate stuff like this. Honestly, they probably hate this podcast, because like they hate this podcast so much. They'd be like, who the fuck is this? You're already like, this thing is making you think like, should I break up with this person? If that feels kind of like a gut reaction, like something's off here, something's a little fishy, or there's something that you can't get over about it, I think just you asking the question probably gives you an answer of maybe where you feel about it. Like, breaking up with her might be the right call. But at the beginning of the question, you did say that, it's really easy and you feel really, comfortable with her and you like her a lot. And I do think if it is a relationship that really feels worth saving, then you need to sit her down in a way that isn't just about the accent, or just about like, stop doing that accent. Because if you go at somebody with like kind of a short fuse, or you're just annoyed with something, or you kind of snap, even though I get why that would happen, I think that immediately becomes a kind of trigger for them to turn around and react the same way and get defensive and get mad. So because I don't know this person and I just know the kind of the snippet of what you told me, I would say if she means a lot to you and you have a feeling that she is somebody that really like could be or is your person, sometimes it's too soon to tell, but like you have a really good feeling, like a good settled feeling about her, then I would sit her down and be like, hey, it's really not just the accent. I'm a little bit kind of concerned that this is coming up so much and you're spending so much time with this friend, and I just wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be with me or is more interested in someone else. And I just really want to know if that's the case. And I would appreciate if you could tell me that and just try to hear me, and that like I want to know whether I should be kind of holding on to this relationship or if you are kind of interested in someone else. And if she gets really defensive about that when you're kind of calm and bring it to her in that way, I would say it's a great sign that she feels guilty or she feels attacked, and, you know, probably does have some sort of feelings, even if she can't recognize them herself. And in that way, I would say it's probably a good idea to end it. But if she's able to kind of sit with you and hold your hand and be like, you know, I'm going to work on this. And then, no, I don't have any feelings for this person at all. I just seem to be picking up the accent a lot because maybe it's like a really weird English accent, right? It's like so interesting for her. I don't know. Like if it's like a crazy good English accent, maybe it's like really hard not to imitate. And maybe that's something that she can work on, and you know, you can kind of figure out the balance. But the other option too is that even if she says, yeah, I'll work on it, and you know, she does, and the accent thing gets better. If you just find generally that you're constantly looking for reasons why you guys shouldn't be together, or even like going and asking, like with this or with Reddit forums, or like if you're continuously asking this question, maybe that's when I would say, you know, it's probably a sign that your brain is telling you that you maybe, or in your heart and your soul, I don't know, all of it is telling you that you maybe don't really want to be with this person because they're bothering you. And in that regard, I would say, like, to anyone suffering with a relationship problem, you do not have that person that you are in a relationship with or in a situationship with or just starting to date. They do not have to be a bad person. They do not have to cheat on you or do something bad or be horrible for you to not want to be with them. It's okay for them to be a fantastic person and you just really do not see yourselves together, or they just don't kind of light you up in that way. That's totally fine. That's good, actually. I feel like sometimes we only end relationships when we're either, you know, forced to, or because we need to build up a case against someone before we end the relationship. They have to be like this big horrible person who does all these awful and annoying things. And the truth is that they don't have to be. They can just be a person who is actually probably pretty good, and they're just not yours. You know, they're just not your person. Or maybe one of the two of you just didn't like each other that much, which sucks, but it happens. And so, you know, if you find yourself asking the question, like, should I break up with her? Should I break up with her? Should I break up with anybody? If you're constantly thinking about that, it's probably a sign that, you know, maybe it's just not your person. And it doesn't have to be that they're doing anything horribly wrong. But I do know that when you're really with someone and it feels right, you just don't ask that question as frequently. So if this is just a small problem in your relationship, you know, problems come up all the time. They're definitely something you want to tackle, but you always want to be kind of having new problems to work on and working through things. And also when problems or issues in the relationship make you question the relationship itself a lot, I think it's probably a good sign not to be in it. But yeah, so I think there's like two ways to go based on how you really feel about her and how she reacts. I think if you bring any issue to someone in a really calm and respectful way, independent from a fight or independent from them feeling attacked, and they come back down your throat, that's just a sign that your communication styles aren't different, or something in the way that you talk to them makes them react that way. And then they're also, or maybe they're just that reactionary to I don't know, different types of conversations, and you don't, I don't know, that's just, it's not a good cycle to be in. So I think even when you've committed to someone and you're in a relationship, just like, you know, the last question we were talking about, thinking about whether you kind of keep going and keep dating someone, I think even if you've chosen to date someone, you still have to be evaluating how you really feel about the relationship on a whole, regardless of whether that person is doing things that are like really bad and really sneaky. Obviously, that's a great sign not to be with someone. But also, if they're just not, they just don't communicate, or they don't, I don't know, like get you in the way that you want, that's also, I think, a good sign that, you know, it's time to move on. Okay.
Ready for question 2?
Question 3.
3.
That was it. Yeah.
Question 3. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, Cass. So I'm in desperate need of advice. I'm worried I'm majorly in the wrong, but I'm just trying to follow my heart. So don't judge me too harshly.
Okay.
I have been seeing this couple for a little over a year. I met them on an app and originally was only dating the wife, but was quickly introduced to her husband, and we've all been seeing each other ever since. I have a very different relationship with both of them, and there was a lot of love there, but lately I've been feeling like my relationship with the wife has been getting really deep. I fear that she may be the love of my life, and honestly not interested in seeing anyone else but her. I understand that she has her primary partner, but I get the sense that they need one good push and they would break up. I want to confess my feelings for her and ask her to be only with me. For context, she's not seeing anyone else but me, and her husband is seeing a lot of people. I know this would be asking her to end her marriage, but I don't think she's happy in it, and I love her and she loves me. What should I do?
Wow. Okay. So that's a tough one for sure. So first of all, I will say that it's great that you feel like this person is the love of your life. That's a beautiful feeling. I would caution you to really, really, really evaluate why you feel that way. Because I think it's easy for us to get caught up in being like, oh, this person, I just love this person so, so much. And sometimes it's other emotions or kind of like lust or want or not being able to have all of them that kind of make those feelings blow up and they become more magnified. So I'm not saying that's what's happening here by any means. I'm just saying if you think that she's the love of your life based on all of these factors of who she is, then amazing. I'm gonna kind of go forward as if that's the case. But I would just also make sure that when you think of her as the love of your life, it's because of all of the qualities that she possesses and not necessarily the situation of not being able to have her full time, because I think that can inflate or confuse things sometimes. But if this person is very much the love of your life, unfortunately, all you can do is I think telling her is the right call, how you feel. But a lot of things you were saying when I was hearing that for the first time sounded like you had decided how she felt about her husband and about their relationship. And that's the only thing I would caution against, is trying to decide that you've cracked the code, you figured it out, you figured out that she's unhappy and that she needs to leave him, because those are just your opinions. And I've also been in situations where I thought I knew all of somebody after a long amount of time, and there was other parts of them that they just hadn't shared with me. And that happens all of the time. That's why people can get surprised, because it's actually very easy to kind of shut off a part of your life. And I'm sure, I actually know, because like I've been in a polyamorous, situation, kind of relationship before. I know that there is sometimes, like, I asked about my partner's other partner. I didn't know how they work together. I didn't really get to see that. And, you might be more privy to that information because you have seen them together, or you have, kind of also been in the room with them many times. I don't know. I wasn't clear if like you were fully dating the husband as well, or if, oh yeah, you were dating the husband as well. Mm-hmm. They were. Okay. So, you uniquely have a situation where you've dated the husband, you've dated the wife. So you have kind of seen all of these sides, but what you haven't seen, what you will never be privy to, is them together alone. And that is something to always remember, especially with a couple or spouses who've been together for a long time, even if they're in a polyamorous relationship. Like even if I had like met or been close with my partner's other partner, you still just never know what their relationship is like when it's just the two of them, because you're not there. So there might be more love and loyalty and commitment and all these other things kind of wrapped up into their relationship that you just might not be seeing. Just don't decide that you know how she feels. And when you talk to her, ask her questions. If you come out with this big confession of love and how you want to be with her exclusively, that's great. I think that you can do that because you're letting her know how you feel. And yeah, you have to be okay with the fact that she might turn around and say, I don't want that. And she might leave you. That is something that could happen. She might turn around and say, I want that too. And then she leaves her husband and you guys are happy together. She might turn around and say, I want to keep dating you, but I'm still want to be with my husband. There's so many ways that could go. So if you are going to actually pose this to her, bring this into her life, ask her to make a decision for you, you cannot be going into it thinking that there is only one possible outcome and it's the outcome that you want, because you don't know that. You do not know what she is going to turn around and say, even if you think you do. And even if you are correct in how she feels, what she actually does about it will be very different. You might get a bunch of answers about the way she feels and then a bunch of different answers or similar answers about what she's going to do about how she feels. And you kind of have to go in letting go a little bit. You can't go in deciding that it's going to go a certain way, that she's going to say a certain thing, that your relationship is going to not change, because it will. Like after confessing something like this, it's a big thing to ask of someone, to put on someone. It might strengthen your relationship or it might weaken it. I do not know, but you kind of just have to be okay with the unknown and tell her, because you need her to know, because you are so in love with this person that you need them to know what you're thinking and how you're feeling. And it's a hard thing, if she does end up leaving her husband, it'll be a really difficult process, I'm sure. Maybe it won't be, but I'm sure it will. And that's hard on people. But ultimately, if it's how she wants her life to go and how you want your life to go, then you guys can be happy together and the husband can find love and happiness somewhere else with someone who wants him more than his wife did. And that's okay. Like eventually things will be okay if that is the case, but that is not the only scenario here. And, just keep in mind that you are bringing to her a decision that you do not know the outcome of yet. And, loving someone really deeply is also trusting them to make their own decisions and choose for themselves, and not, imparting on them how we feel they should feel, or what we think we know that they feel. Because again, there's information that you are not privy to. You do not know what they're like, what the full extent of their history together is, and you do not know what they are like behind closed doors. So there's just missing gaps in probably your information of the two of them, even if you don't think there is, or you think you know them both very well. I promise you there is. And so just if you do decide to tell her, just go in very freely. And on the opposite spectrum, if you do decide not to tell her yet, or just decide to reevaluate how you feel, that's okay too. And it'll all kind of come out as it needs to, I think, with things like that. Don't push yourself to tell her if you don't feel ready yet, or you don't feel like you're okay with the reaction you're going to get yet, but also don't keep it from her if you're just bursting at the seams and you need to say something. It's never wrong to tell someone how you feel. You just can't tell them how you want them to react to it. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who asked questions and who was listening to the podcast. This is really cool. It's really scary to start something. I know that's kind of where we started the episode, but this is a new thing, podcasting. I've never done it. And I really just appreciate anybody who's watching or supporting, or, just giving us any information to use. So thank you. I will continue to work on getting maybe a bit more concise. But if in the meantime, if you have any other questions or any new questions that you want to ask, I would love to answer them. You can email askthepodcass@gmail.com. And we will be sure to keep you anonymous. And yeah, it would be really, really helpful if you could also like and subscribe. Never said that before. But thanks so much, everybody, and have a good one, honeys.